Okay, before we begin the regular meeting, we will have a public hearing for bond issue notification, and both this meeting and the village board meeting per Governor Pritzker's executive order will be conducted by Zoom. Roll call for the public hearing. Mrs. Thomas.
Trustee Dawkins.
Here.
Trustee Purcell.
Here.
Trustee Washington. Trustee Roman.
Here.
Trustee Heiferman.
Here.
Trustee Burnson.
Here.
President Hofeld.
Here. Representing staff this evening. To my left is our village attorney, Chris Cummings. To my right, our village manager, Jim Marino. In the audience is our finance director, Dennis Bubenik, and police chief, Bill Alcott. And by Zoom, our public works director, John Schaefer. The reason for the proposed issuance of bonds is to meet the needs of various capital projects and capital equipment to be used throughout the village. Mr. Bubenik, if you would detail this, please.
Classify our capital projects and capital equipment into 5 different categories. Public safety equipment, for example, an ambulance for the fire department, so we'll borrow money for that. Information technology typically is server upgrades. Vehicles, we'll borrow money for a plow truck for the Public Works Department. Infrastructure, Department of Public Works projects will begin work on the Ridge Road storm sewer design with these bond funds. And facility improvements, our last category, Science Center electrical upgrades.
Those are a few of the projects that are going to be brought forward. It should also be noted that with the small bond issues, which may wind up with a public offering, we usually pay them off, Dennis, within 2.5 years.
Correct.
Okay. Any comments from the board with regard to any of these items? If not, are there any public comments with regard to the public hearing on the bond issuance?
No, there are not.
Okay, and you've received none as well. There's none in the audience. It should be noted there are 4 people in the audience. At this time, everyone has been given an opportunity for oral and written testimony. May we have a motion to adjourn, please?
So moved. Purcell.
Second, Heiferman.
It's been moved by trustee Purcell, seconded by trustee Heiferman to adjourn the public meeting. Roll call, please.
Trustee Dawkins.
Aye.
Trustee Purcell.
Aye.
Trustee Roman.
Aye.
Trustee Heiferman.
Aye.
Trustee Burnson.
Aye.
Public hearing is hereby adjourned. The regular board meeting of July 28th. Again, roll call, Mrs. Thomas.
Trustee Dawkins.
Here.
Trustee Purcell.
Here.
Trustee Washington. Trustee Roman.
Here.
Trustee Heiferman.
Here.
Trustee Burnson. President Hofeld.
Here. And again, it should be noted that in attendance is our village attorney, Chris Cummings, our village manager, Jim Marino, our finance director, Dennis Bubenik, police chief, Bill Alcott, and on Zoom, our public works director, John Schaefer. The minutes of July 14th. Any additions or corrections? Not? May I have a motion to approve, please?
So moved. Burnson.
Second. Purcell.
Been moved by trustee Burnson, seconded by trustee Purcell. Roll call, please.
Trustee Dawkins.
Aye.
Trustee Purcell.
Aye.
Trustee Roman.
Aye.
Trustee Heiferman.
Aye.
Trustee Burnson.
Aye.
The minutes are approved.
Trust-
The claims list in the amount
Trustee
of
Washington, I'm sorry. I want to make sure I've been on the meeting, but you couldn't hear me. Can you hear me now? I've been on the meeting.
very good. Duly noted. You have that, Mrs. Thomas?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, trustee Washington. The claims list in the amount of $317,371.27. Comments or questions? Trustee Dawkins.
No comments or questions.
Trustee Purcell.
Nothing here.
Trustee Washington.
Nothing for me.
Trustee Roman.
Nothing from me.
Trustee Heiferman.
I have nothing.
And trustee Burnson.
I have nothing.
May I have a motion to approve the claims list, please?
So moved, Roman.
Seconded, Washington.
Been moved by trustee Roman, seconded by trustee Washington. Roll call, please.
Trustee Dawkins.
Aye.
Trustee Purcell.
Aye.
Trustee Washington.
Aye.
Trustee Roman.
Aye.
Trustee Heiferman.
Aye.
Trustee Burnson.
Aye.
Claims list is approved. Of that $317,000 claims list, better than half of that are two items. Our payment to Burns McDonald, the engineer for the Hammond Water System connection, was $130,000. That was a partial payment. And our payment to Thorn Creek Sanitary District for treatment of sewage was $75,000. That amounted to $205,000 of that claims list, 65%. Hear from the audience. It should be noted that there are 4 people in the audience this evening. We'll call on them first, and then Mrs. Thomas, any comments you have that are written, we'll hear them afterwards. Would anyone like to address the board this evening? If you would, for the record, your name and address, please.
Yes, my name is, should I stand?
So please, whatever you're comfortable with.
My name is Chris MacArthur, and I live at 18952 Loomis.
Go right ahead.
Okay, thank you. I'm simply wanting to ask the board, is it board or council?
The board is fine.
The board, okay, thank you. Ask the board to consider Grant's comment on actions or plans for action to address the traffic at the intersection of 183rd and Center. I witnessed the accident last Wednesday. I believe I was the first person to call on 911 and get through. I was able to provide some assistance to the 2 drivers that were involved. So just wondered what is in place, and just say, hey, place that issue on the agenda.
Okay. I assume you're all here on the same issue. If we could hear their comments, and then we'll try to address them.
I don't know about this gentleman.
Are you here for that reason, sir?
No.
Okay. Something else?
Yes.
Okay. Go right ahead, since it's the same issue.
Dana Burke, and this is my wife, Courtney Burke. We live on 183rd, just across the street from where it happened, the accident last week. I first want to say thank you. I do know there have been some steps toward researching and engineering potential solutions. I know that you guys aren't turning a deaf ear or a blind eye, but I'm simply here. I started a petition, and you may be aware at this point, the petition is for a traffic light installation at Center at 183rd. It's since received 7,600 and counting different signatures. There's been about 2,500 people that have shared it. Countless family members have reached out saying, thank you. This is obviously a tragic thing that has happened. And then kind of a step further, considering that Dominique Wood, the young man who lost his life, was at a stop sign on Center, simply making a routine right turn. It sort of calls into play, well, if that wasn't possible to turn while there was oncoming traffic, the collision never would have occurred. There was a lot of different solutions people have thrown out, whether it's a traffic light, a 4-way stop, a speed bump. There's probably 100 others that I'm not thinking of. Roundabouts, I mean, that's not my particular favorite of the 4 that I mentioned, but I live where it happens. Across the street from me are several children who play basketball on the driveway every day. Next to us is the guy who works in his driveway on his car frequently, and to the right of me is a gentleman who's lived there for 40 years. And if another accident like that were to happen on our side of the street or on the other side where the children are playing and it wasn't stopped by a tree, this could have been several lives that would have lost. And I'm simply asking on behalf of myself, my wife, and almost 8,000 people who have signed, not only to have a solution for that intersection specifically, but consider potential future solutions for the speeding on 183rd. You may have heard or overheard my wife and I chatting with Chris as we came in. And there are many people who speed, not just 5-10 mile an hour type stuff, which you shouldn't do, but 30 and 40 and 50 miles per hour above the posted speed limit of 30 miles per hour. And I know there are many traffic stops. I see a lot of them out of my office window. I work from home right now. And so I don't know what the solution is. I'm not blaming anyone that no one's doing their job. That's not what I'm saying, but I'm just asking on behalf of myself and all the people who have signed, please consider taking action quickly before another life is lost unnecessarily.
Thank you. And thank you both for your comments. We did receive your email as well. Did you want that read into the record or your testimony just now?
I think what I said is okay. I don't know what your protocols are, but
We're just good old boys. We try to do what's right.
My testimony, I think, suffices.
Yeah. Okay, Mrs. Thomas, if you could disregard that particular one. Mr. Burke testified here today. With regard, we'll get to your concern in a minute. Sir?
Yes. My name is Alfredo. I own Vida Taco. And I just asked him to find the...
Okay, you have an item on the agenda this evening.
Right.
Okay,
Okay, I'm sorry.
we'll get to that. This is another matter. Okay. Mrs. Thomas, you have other comments, written comments. Can you all hear this? Okay. Go right ahead, Mrs. Thomas. We have two other comments other than Mr. Burke's.
Yes, I'm sorry, it was muted, sorry. Received 7:51 p.m. Monday, July 27. Like residents of 183rd Street, those of us on the north end of Ashland Avenue have experienced an alarming increase in speeding cars and trucks well beyond the posted 30-mile-per-hour speed limit. Earlier this month, a collision similar to the fatal 183rd Street accident last week occurred at the corner of Ashland and Pine Road. Two severely injured young drivers were taken by ambulances. One of the cars landed in our front yard, inches from our slow down sign. Weeks earlier, I had sent a letter to the Homewood Police pleading for police presence or a lighted sign giving the speed of travel of vehicles on Ashland. I have since learned that these lighted signs can be fitted with camera, enabling identification and pursuit of speeders. As a member of the Homewood Zone Board of Appeals, I remember the words of our distinguished chairman, the late Leon Zolkowski, who reminded that unenforced and unenforceable laws actually weaken compliance. If offenders experience no consequences short of collisions, they soon conclude that speed limits are meaningless. Thank you for your consideration of this message. Betty T. Baker. P.S. Motorcycles are among the frequent offenders also. Have we no noise ordinance for residential areas? And I have another correspondence received at 3:48 p.m. today, July 28, to the manager's office of the Village of Homewood and the Board of Trustees. I am Linda Crabtree, resident of Homewood for 7+ years, my husband Kevin, and our 5-year-old daughter Evelyn, and I live in 1.5 blocks away from Willow School. We are very concerned about the increased speed and dangerous amount of traffic in our village. This is now highlighted by the recent deadly accident on 183rd and Center last week. I wanted to add our personal voice of concern and hope for action by the village to increase traffic safety on the major and side street thoroughfares. Pretty much everyone says we need to try to stop tragedies before they happen. A tragedy happened. It's time to act as a village. This is a major wake-up call. If nothing is done to improve the area, another traffic accident is bound to happen. We have witnessed an increased amount of dangerous traffic along the 183rd Street and Dixie Highway corridors from 187th to Ridge and Halsted to Governor's Highway. The dangerous speed cars are traveling have almost put us personally at risk. I was nearly T-boned 1 block from my house at a yield sign that the opposing vehicle ignored the very first day I owned my house. We are seeing a lot of personal vehicles as well as commercial delivery trucks using Homewood Avenue between 183rd and Willow as a thoroughfare to cut through and avoid traffic lights. Plus, Homewood Avenue is the first street west of Willow School, making it more heavily traveled during school hours. Cars, pickup trucks, UPS, and FedEx trucks commonly fly through at what I would estimate 35 to 50 miles per hour, which is very concerning. We walk Evelyn to school and have even seen people who just left the school after having dropped their children off, guilty of speeding and driving dangerously. I always cringe as cars travel northbound on Dixie into downtown Homewood because they are merging 2 lanes into one by Mama and Me Pizza coming from the south. It becomes a race and cars are already 40 mile per hour plus. It's very dangerous for patrons who parallel park along Dixie. We do support the recent petition for the added traffic lights, but more than a traffic signal at 183rd and Center needs to be addressed. Better patrolling and a presence needs to be seen and felt by all travelers through the village to make people's driving habits change. If that means increasing violations upon guilty drivers, we support that. As I mentioned, I have seen a lot of speeding vehicles right in front of our house on Homewood Avenue, and we are concerned additional traffic lights on busier streets like 183rd Street will cause more drivers to use the side streets to avoid waiting at lights. This makes our side streets more dangerous for everyone: children, residents, walkers, pets, bicyclists, everyone. At that, we understand and support if speed bumps or something of that nature were installed on the streets surrounding Willow School and other high-risk areas where pedestrian travel is more likely, at the very least for the students and families. We ask that true measures are taken and actions are made to make the traffic situation much safer and better policed, so we can greatly reduce the chances that someone we love is injured or killed in another accident. We have included Daniel Burke's drafted message below as well in support of his initiative. We are available to further discuss. Our contact information is below. Thank you. Kevin Crabtree, Linda Crabtree, 18436 Homewood Avenue.
That's it.
That's it.
Okay. Chief Falcott, you want to come on up?
Can you guys hear me on my Zoom? Chief,
No.
you guys can hear me? I'll stay right here if that's okay. So
That's fine. That's fine.
So you guys are aware, we increased traffic control, 183rd Street as of July 14th, which is 14 days ago. We've conducted 161 traffic stops in that period of time. That's a lot of traffic stops. So obviously, we can't catch everybody. And when we do arrest people, we're taking down people, we're moving around. That includes everything from warnings to traffic citations to arrest. And traffic in 183rd Street, obviously, because of the 4 lanes, makes it feel like it's a bit of a road. So that's a lot to do with it. We're out there every day. I cannot comment on the fatal accident that occurred. It's still under investigation. And we are working, myself along with John Schaefer, are working to look at every solution that we can possibly do over at that area. To address the other issue that was just read to us, I know a lot of you are aware, we added a stop sign on 187th Street to slow down traffic there. We have speed signs like we do in front of your house. Also, that 183rd Street, I don't know if you're aware of this, it was only recently, past couple of years, that we added the yield and school zone signs. That is recent, which is took us several years to get to that and go through the proper channels. So we're taking every possible initiative that we can, and we're working on it, and we feel we're safe, and we're out there every day. So the rest of the community, obviously, we're doing as much traffic control as we can. We're putting in speed signs. We're at the Willow School every morning at pickup. We're at actually every school at pickup and drop off times. So we're there when the kids are being dropped off to address the other issue. And we're well known for that also. When we put squad car out there, the lights, police officers out there stopping parents that are either on their cell phones. Sometimes the parents are the worst offenders, but we know everybody's in a hurry in the morning, so we hope that our presence slows people down.
I think you made a good point. Mr. Schaefer, did you have anything that you wanted to say as looking at that particular intersection?
Yeah, we're going to gather the accident information from the past 5 years. We'll turn around and do current traffic volume counts and speed counts. We're going to also get in touch with Illinois Department of Transportation, IDOT, to see if they would be required to be involved or not. We're also going to take a look at the intersection alignment to see if there's ways that, if it's determined that that would need to be realigned, if there is any type of traffic control put at that intersection. And then we'd also have to see if we have enough right-of-way currently in that area to do any type of traffic control that's permanent. But we're going to look at all the options. And then from there, we'll get something to the board and the village manager of what we found and what recommendations may be out there, if any. We are going to look right now to improving the current sight lines at the intersection of Center and 103rd to see if we can do anything to improve those sight lines to help the situation out right now.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Burke, any further questions? Mr. MacArthur?
No, but I would like to make a comment. If I could.
Please.
Yes, again, thank you, Mr. Mayor and Board. I appreciate all this effort that's being done. Appreciate your leadership and some things. I've been a 21-year resident. I've raised 3 sons, all have gone through HF High School. I tried to coach my sons to avoid going straight through that center jog. I've been through it hundreds of times myself in the 21 years. And I try to avoid it, but I've gone through straight a number of times. And I had a front row. I was on Center northbound, coming up to 183rd, turning right towards Walgreens. I was at the corner when I got a front row seat. And allowed me, so many times I've gone through that intersection, allowed me to see what we already instinctively know, that jog is just a difficult, unsafe intersection. And I would just ask you to keep that on your minds. We all know jogs are difficult. And then when I see someone die, I say, okay, yeah, let's look at it. It's worked for all of us, especially you. And I've been a real benefactor of your work here in Homewood, having lived here 20 years. So thank you for your time and attention. And hopefully we can prevent someone else from being hurt or killed with their actions. Thank you.
Thank you all for being here this evening, and we'll keep in touch with you. The omnibus vote, Mrs. Thomas.
The board is asked to pass ordinance M 2139, approving a water supply agreement between the City of Chicago Heights and the Village of Homewood. The village is choosing not to renew its purchase of Lake Michigan water from the City of Harvey. That agreement ends in 2022. This ordinance will start work on a 25-year agreement to purchase water from the City of Chicago Heights. The board is asked to approve a budget amendment for $26,000 to the Police and Fire Commission recruitment line item to cover costs for the firefighter paramedic testing, police sergeant promotional testing, and entry-level police officer testing. The board is asked to approve an intergovernmental agreement between Homewood and the Village of Flossmoor to perform a joint corrosion control study for changing the Lake Michigan water supplier from Harvey to Chicago Heights. Flossmoor purchases its water from Homewood via Harvey. Flossmoor trustees are considering moving its water supply to Chicago Heights through Homewood. The cost of the corrosion study is $366,285. The village's share will be paid from the Water and Sewer Fund. The board is asked to approve a budget amendment of $205,819 to increase the water delivery project fiscal year 2020-2021 budget from $1,085,415 to $1,291,234. The Illinois Environmental Protection Agency is requiring the village to conduct a corrosion control study for the switch to a water supply from Chicago Heights. Water supply from Chicago Heights. This cost was not anticipated in the initial contract with Burns and McDonnell Engineering of Kansas City, which is working on the conversion project. The budget line item needs to be increased to cover these additional costs. The board is asked to approve a change order in the amount of $205,819 to the contract with Burns and McDonnell to complete the water supply corrosion control study. The board is asked to award a bid for a water distribution system leak detection survey project to be conducted by M.E. Simpson Company, Inc. of Valparaiso, Indiana for $21,400. The survey will assess the village's 110 miles of water main for possible leaks. The board is asked to award a bid to Go Painters of Maywood, Illinois to sandblast and paint fire hydrants for $50,000. The board is asked to authorize the sale of surplus real estate owned by the village at 18462 Dixie Highway. The vacant corner lot is at Willow and Dixie Highway. The bids on the sale of the lot will be accepted through August 14, 2020. The board is asked to direct staff to initiate a liquor license application process for Vita Tacos for a Class 5X beer and wine only liquor license.
It should be noted there's no one in the audience other than the petitioner, Mr. Castro, for the last item. Any comments from the board with regard to any of these items? Trustee Dawkins.
I'd just like to thank staff for all the work done on getting this water project up and running. It seemed like such a far-off dream when we first started talking about it. It's something that is of great importance to our residents because the situation with Harvey and with Chicago is just making it very difficult for our residents economically, and also we want to make sure that we're providing safe water for our residents as well. So thank you for all the work that everyone has done to get this accomplished.
Trustee Purcell.
I agree with what Barb said. I can't believe that it has moved along as fast as it has either. And thank you for all that, but I'm good with everything.
Trustee Washington.
I agree with everything that's been said. Thank you.
Trustee Roman.
I also agree with everything that Barb said. Thank you.
Trustee Heiferman.
I have nothing to add.
Trustee Burnson.
Nothing to add either.
It should be noted that when we began our talks with Chicago Heights, Tim, was 2.5 years ago, and it's finally come to this. It's a good arrangement. That's a good contract. Chris, do you have any comments on the contract?
No, looking forward to working with them.
Okay. Again, it will be a new source of water, and the engineering firm is outstanding. We should also note that some time ago, Trustee Washington had brought up her concerns with regard to the lead in the lines and what effect that would have. And the study that we're doing that was in item C addresses that. So again, thank you, Trustee Washington, for your comments on that. With all that being said, may I have a motion to approve the items in the consent agenda, please?
So moved, Burnson.
Seconded, Washington.
It's been moved by Trustee Burnson, seconded by Trustee Washington. Roll call, please.
Trustee Dawkins.
Aye.
Trustee Purcell.
Aye.
Trustee Washington.
Aye.
Trustee Roman.
Aye.
Trustee Heiferman.
Aye.
Trustee Burnson.
Aye.
The consent agenda is approved. General board discussion. Trustee Dawkins.
Again, I encourage everyone to stay safe. I know that it is tempting to get lax in these times with the beautiful weather and everything being open, but I think we need to be mindful of the fact that we have to stay healthy to get our kids back in school. We have to stay healthy so that we can come out of this someday and see each other in person, not wearing masks. And we can only do that if right now we do wear masks and that we're mindful of what is important for our health. Also, I would like to say thank you to Chief Alcott and Mr. Schaefer regarding the work you're putting in with respect to 183rd and Center. I have held my breath and crossed that path many times on my way, usually late to Isaac Walton, and it really is a dangerous intersection. I know that there are certain things we need to look at, but I appreciate all that. I appreciate all of the stops that are being made by the police department. Really, all of our thoroughfares that are busy streets are well-traveled and people speed on them. 187th, Center, Dixie, and anything that can be done to improve that, I greatly appreciate.
Trustee Purcell.
It is a horrible intersection. I agree. I appreciate everything that is going into looking at what can be done, and my thoughts go out to the families who are involved as well.
Trustee Washington.
I agree with everything that's been said. Stay safe and healthy, and my thoughts go out to the family.
Trustee Roman.
I also agree with everything that has been said. My condolences to the families that were involved, and I appreciate everything that's being done. I think that it was nice to see that even before we got a petition with nearly 8,000 signatures, work was already being done to see what can be improved at that intersection. So that was nice to see that everybody was being so proactive. So. And I'd also, on a happy note, like to remind everybody about the first annual Porch Fest that's going to happen Saturday, August 8th. It's not necessarily a village-sponsored event, but hopefully people can get out and go and listen to some bands on everybody's porches. I will have one here at my house, so swing by and listen to the porch band. There's a map on Facebook. And be responsible, wear your masks, and socially distance.
Trustee Heiferman.
I'd like to just state that for us to, like the intersection at Center and 183rd, we should do a better job of identifying, any intersection or any thoroughfare that is a challenge to cyclists, pedestrians, other vehicles, and especially vehicles that are traveling that don't live locally, that proper crossing needs to be identified. I also think that until we really deal with whatever infrastructure changes might be made, that, and again, despite that, a couple of weeks ago, we did increase the efforts to patrol 183rd Street and increase enforcement. I really think that we can double it from there. And I'd like to know why we can't, if we can't. I think that it's not a bad thing to systematically build a reputation for residents and visitors that we take traffic enforcement seriously. If that becomes our reputation, we'll all be safer and we won't have to deal with some of these issues.
Trustee Berntsen.
Yeah, I want to thank Chief Alcott and all the men and women of the police department for stepping up on traffic enforcement. I know how difficult it is because the outcome sometimes is not the kind of outcome that the officers like to see. Keep it up, Chief. Please pass on our wishes that they keep doing this, because I think it's such a big quality of life for the community. And when you see an officer pull somebody over, you know the effect it has on other people that are driving by. So let's make sure everybody's seeing it. And John, thank you very much for doing the study. I know that, excuse me, in my career, T intersections and off-center intersections are some of the most dangerous intersections you can have. The off-center intersections were probably designed back in the 50s, maybe even before that, to try to slow down traffic to go through. And that surely doesn't work on Center Avenue. I know I stay away from that, but hopefully we get some good information out of the studies, and IDOT allows us to do what we need to do to make that a safer intersection.
Thank you. We're all appreciative of the efforts of both the police department and Public Works. They work hand in hand, and they're doing good things. Keeping in mind the coronavirus, I was hoping that we would have some semblance of a meeting where we could social distance, but we'll continue to meet on Zoom in the foreseeable future. Also, as far as events go, our Fall Fest, which is usually held in September, that has been canceled as well. So unfortunately, that falls victim to the coronavirus as well. With that, may I have a motion to adjourn, please?
So moved, Purcell.
Second, Roman.
Been moved by Trustee Purcell, seconded by Trustee Roman. Roll call, please.
Trustee Dawkins.
Aye.
Trustee Purcell.
Aye.
Trustee Washington.
Aye.
Trustee Roman.
Aye.
Trustee Heiferman.
Aye.
Trustee Burnson.
Aye.
We stand adjourned. Thank you all. Stay safe.